Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and wow, this market is resilient. After Bitcoin hit a new all-time high yesterday and then plummeted along with the rest of the market, including XRP, there's been quite a rebound. This is very real demand. That was quite the capitulation event, and still things moving to the upside. I'll share with you some of the latest perspectives surrounding those goings-on, what's happening with Bitcoin and XRP specifically, including a perspective from one analyst who says that it is time for judgment when it comes to XRP, but expectation is that in the short term, we are finally going to see XRP above $1. It's been a hot minute since we've seen that, but as far as I'm concerned, look, I don't make price predictions, but my conviction is that it's just a matter of time. It's a virtual inevitability. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. As I record this video, XRP is 61 cents. Bitcoin's at $66,111. Market cap for the asset class over $2.5 trillion, despite massive liquidations yesterday, mind you. Absolutely incredible. By the way, at the time I'm recording this, it is 5:54 p.m. Central Time on Wednesday, March 6, 2024. Crypto Fear and Greed Index, it's at 75 out of 100, but it only updates once every 24 hours. Updates in about 5 minutes, so I'll try to remember to come back and hit refresh on this thing to see where it ends up. Given that we've seen a move to the upside since, and my guess is, if anything, it would be at least like a little higher, maybe? I don't know, that's my for fun guess. Because again, you consider when this thing was updated, there's probably a lot less certainty at that point, 24 hours ago, but look at what's happened. Like, a major capitulation event, yet here we are. Bitcoin getting ridiculously close to hitting a new all-time high today. It's just a few percentage points off from that, frankly. And there's this post from my fellow XRP YouTuber, The Bearable Bull. And he said, bull markets end in euphoria, not in fear. Now, that is spot on. That is factually correct. And even though I understand, yes, like technically we're in greed, or when this thing updates, maybe the Crypto Fear and Greed Index will show that we're in extreme greed. Look at the response that we had yesterday. Lots of people in fear. When you get to the end of the cycle, if you have a big dip like that, you don't get the calls. Because we did see some people calling for like, oh, well, there we go. That was the top. Like, you don't see that happening when it's actually at the end. When it's at the end, everybody has strong conviction that it's not over. Now, of course, it's, improperly placed conviction, but this is not what we typically see. So the Bearable Bull, I'm telling you, he's spot on with that analysis. But even so, where it's very clear we're getting to that mania stage, right? It's just one day at a time. And by the way, look, like I said just the other day, mania can be sustained for quite a period of time. It's not like the first time we noticed, oh, that looks like mania. It doesn't mean the next day everything's all over. No, this is going for some time. Here's a popular chart analyst, Bob Lucas, 264,000 followers on X, and he wrote the following just this morning. Local news mentions Bitcoin's second straight day, and front page news. Pretty much all my acquaintances reached out all at once this week. Interesting to see that the mania phase has already started. Have to assure, therefore, the crypto top will come in late 2024. Yeah, and just my guess would also be that it's at some point this year rather than 2025 that the top is going to be hit. Probably, what do you think it'll be? Next several months, half a year, maybe something like that would probably be reasonable. And it's not like this just started. The bottom of the bear market was over a year ago. We've been climbing out of it for that long. It's just that now people are starting to pay attention. When the real time to pay attention was over a year ago, which would be what the vast majority of you were doing, right? Because that was the time to accumulate. The people that are just jumping in now, not that there's no opportunity, I'm not saying that, but the greatest opportunity was when everything seemed scary and nobody was paying attention. Here's a post from chart analyst Matthew Hyland. And this one's from last night, 11:31 p.m. Central Time. He said Bitcoin had the highest volume on the daily since the FTX crash. We literally just had the largest single day capitulation in over a year. Bullish as it gets, and it's not surprising to see the price moving up. And so, folks, I'm well positioned. So, after a move like that, like I accumulated during the bear portion of this cycle. So I didn't buy anything on the capitulation, but capitulation events are buying opportunities for those who are interested. When FTX collapsed, and we had the most extreme fear just about that I'd ever seen in my 6+ years in crypto, I was not fearful. I was publicly stating what I was doing on my YouTube videos and on X. I said, hey, well, it looks like a capitulation event here. I'm buying, son. That's exactly what I did. And so this is just another one of those types of instances, except for this just happened right after hitting a new all-time high. And it has been sustained. Matthew Hyland also posted this morning. He said, notice so many people called for Bitcoin to crash after we had the biggest capitulation event since FTX crash. Calling for a crash after capitulation is silly. Bitcoin now pushing toward all-time highs again. And folks, get used to seeing a report after report of Bitcoin hitting new all-time highs, because as it climbs out of there, welcome to price discovery. We're going to get there for XRP too. Here's a post from chart analyst James Van Straten. He said, yesterday was the third biggest one-day drop for Bitcoin in the past 12 months. 6.5% usually marks a bottom, like SVB collapse back in March 2023. If it doesn't, we tend to see another negative red day the day after. But this V-shaped recovery, I have never seen anything like this before. It's even better than COVID because there's no external help. This is pure demand. So this is what I'm talking about. Major capitulation event, and the money just keeps flowing back in so quickly. It really is genuinely, it's pure demand, as he says. It's the resiliency. It's shocking. And this is and it's not like we're saying that there's a lot of demand at much lower price. Like we're hovering around the all-time high for Bitcoin. We just hit it yesterday. And there will be another one, I'm sure. Even if it takes like days or weeks, I don't pretend to know exactly when it's going to come. But the point is, at this level, there's still that level of tremendous demand. I can only imagine what this means for altcoins. I think we're going to have some fun in 2024. I mean, we already are, but I think it's going to get even better. Here's a post from chart analyst 360 Trader. He said, everybody thinks they know. Let me be clear. They don't. The supply-demand dynamic at work this cycle, nobody has ever seen before. And so he's talking about Bitcoin here. But so this is kind of what I say, though, when it comes to history not completely repeating itself, but kind of rhyming. There's a lot of similarities here, actually. And there are people that actually did call this. For instance, Credible Crypto. Credible Crypto has been calling for this exact series of events to unfold for several years. In fact, he first started talking about this, I think, at the end of 2019. And here's what he had to say about Bitcoin in the short term here. He said, and this post was from just this morning, 11:49 a.m. Central Time. He said, some notable asks above current levels on Bitcoin with bids stacked closer to our lows. Ideally, this keeps us locked in a tight range / consolidation for a bit so alts can continue to run. And then he provided a link to one of his videos out there. And so, and he has been talking about this recently. So, especially since the crash yesterday, but it's just this idea of, okay, Bitcoin hit a new all-time high, consolidate, give time, that gives time for alts to run a bit. And Bitcoin, though, eventually, all eyes going to be back on Bitcoin, running even further. And Credible Crypto's best guess is that, Bitcoin runs up to about $150,000 for the peak. Now, his range is actually much more broad because he acknowledges that there are a lot of moving parts to this thing, so it's hard to be precise. So his window is basically like $100,000 on the low end to $300,000 on the high end, but he thinks what's most reasonable is about $150,000 for Bitcoin. So the higher Bitcoin goes, though, the more money there will be to flow and rotate into altcoins, which is what I'm waiting for. Here's a post from chart analyst Crypto's XRP holding above weekly 21 MA. Needs to stay there by Sunday. Yes, the good old weekly candle. We'll see what happens here. But again, for those of you that haven't heard me say this, I've mentioned a couple times recently. We are at one of those moments where just about every analyst that I respect and follow under the sun, who isn't, any analyst I follow that actually covers XRP and isn't some sort of troll against it, like, I can't find an analyst that doesn't think XRP is going to be shooting to the upside. I can't find one. Not in the group of analysts that I follow. That is not always the case. In fact, that's usually not the case. That is now. That is not normal. That's not usually what's going on. I think back to when this happened last, or maybe not the very last time, but most notable time that I recall off the top of my head would be or late October of 2020, when XRP was about 20-something cents, and then it ran up to 80 cents in very short order. And I was like, I just noted at the time before it ran up, I was like, guys, I've never seen this many of the analysts that I follow all kind of saying this thing's about to go. So take it for what it's worth. Here's a post from chart analyst Nick, Crypto Crusader. Says, you can just feel all-time highs coming. Majority of the space has given up on so many altcoins like XRP, and I really think this is the year they get shocked by all-time highs. Yeah, I think that's probably about right. And then you had this from chart analyst Crypto Insight UK. XRP holders, it is time for judgment. Historically, this is where XRP has started to go bananas. As Bitcoin breaks all-time high, XRP has sent it. In 2020, we had the SEC lawsuit come in. Was this a black swan? Potentially, it was perfectly timed, it seems. However, now we have much less headwind. We have had longer to accumulate. Will we rhyme with 2017 or 2020? That's the question. As the saying goes, the longer the base, the higher in space. Yeah, and I would agree with that general sentiment. Yeah, this is the time. Sure, time for judgment, absolutely. Because either it's going to happen this cycle, or something is seriously wrong. Something is broken, and we're just not seeing it. And we're just hanging out here in an echo chamber, and we're missing something that's crucially important. Now, I don't believe that's the case. I believe XRP is going to run like crazy, with my only caveats being if there's an actual black swan and like crypto markets collapse or something on a global scale, who knows, something like that. If for some reason, even if Bitcoin keeps running, if there's not an actual alt season and then XRP doesn't participate because basically no coins did, well, okay, those would be my only caveats. I can't think of another reason that it wouldn't happen. Either XRP goes now, or I guess we were wrong. I don't think we're wrong. I've the strongest conviction I've ever had. This asset class is going. It moves in tandem. Then there's this from Dark Defender. We had the orange and the green arrows on the XRP BTC pair. We reached the support. Ultimate. The purple arrow is here. It will be the awakening of 6 years. Some can see and some can't. And so for those of you not looking at the screen here, it's just he's showing an XRP BTC chart and noting what I've been talking about a fair bit recently because it's highly relevant right now. When XRP is worth so little compared to Bitcoin historically, those are the moments before it goes. He's highlighting this here. Ultimate support, yep. That's the support line right there. We are exactly on it. And there are signs that XRP is waking up. And it is the time for judgment. This is it. This is exactly right. And I think that the analysts that are calling for this, which are all of them that I see, I think that they're going to be proven correct. That's my suspicion. And if I'm wrong, fine. I could be wrong. I'm just a dude on the internet. Could go to zero, okay. That is not my conviction, though. Here's another post from Dark Defender. Hi there to the strong hands. We are proceeding to 77 cents, and it is absolutely normal to have such back tests. Law of nature, only the strong will survive. One shake and many were eliminated. There has been no change in the daily frame. Once more, if an instrument reaches a Fibonacci level, then number 1, while going up, expect a resistance. And number 2, while going down, expect a support. If you have been following for at least 10 days, you should have known we discussed the strongest Fibonacci level, the strongest resistance at 66.49 cents. And XRP bounced back from 66.89 cents on Binance. But this cannot stop the move after this backtest. XRP is above Ichimoku clouds, had the backtest, strong in MACD, and RSI. Road to $1 at first. And folks, this shouldn't be surprising because, again, understanding the simple concept that the asset class, broadly speaking, moves in tandem, the fact that there's such strength with Bitcoin should not make it surprising to see that there is strength in XRP as well. There's going to be a big day, and there's going to be all sorts of articles written about it where XRP is rocketing to the upside, hits $1, so on and so forth, and I don't think it's going to, in one go, hit new all-time highs. Historically, there's historic precedent to have at least a couple large moves per cycle. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I think it's just a matter of time. I don't pretend to know exactly when it's going to happen, but one day we wake up and then, we open, whatever app we use to see what prices are, and then you do a double take because you think you looked at it wrong. Like, oh no, it's not wrong. It is 90 cents or $1 or $1.10 or whatever. I've had those days many times, including with XRP. They seem impossible when you go so long without having them, but then it happens, and then it just seems obvious. Oh yes, of course it was going to. That's how it always plays out. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.